Classic Hits, KDUZ. Good morning. It is Joel Niemeyer here with you, along with Chad Greenway, former Vikings linebacker, the MN Scorefeed Blitz. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How's it going, Joel?
Doing very well, and boy, as the temperatures warm up, so do the Twins, and boy, that's been fun to see. Just it hasn't happened a whole lot where the Twins have gotten on streaks like this the last few weeks.
Well, it's also fun how they're winning the games, right? I mean, just kind of you love to see your team come back and battle back late in games when you look dead in the water. They've done that a couple times here in the last week, and it's fun. I mean, there's nothing better than a summer when we get some decent weather around here, some warm weather, and some Twins wins. And I don't think it can be better than that.
And to me, at least from the outside looking in, it looks like they're having fun right now on the field. And whatever the sport, whether it's baseball or your sport, football, when you're having fun, does that translate into performance on the field a little bit?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it really does. I think that's one of the things you look at is you say, is this team having fun? Do they want to be there? Do they want to be together? And you can definitely tell that's the case here. I mean, the reality is these when you get a team like this, when you have a schedule of games that the Major League Baseball has, and you get on the grind like the Major League Baseball players have to get on. When your team is bonding and working together, man, you find ways and creative ways to get wins when you normally wouldn't. And I think that's just huge. I know it's early, and I know we're just kind of getting rolling this thing, but we're hoping to hit the later part of our season here, hit June in a good spot, and hopefully get to a summer and feeling pretty good about where you're at.
And you mentioned, it is still a little early. It's about 2 months gone in the season here, turning the calendar into June here. Is it still too soon to tell in the season, or are there inklings like this could be a pretty good year for the Twins?
Well, I think just the way they're winning games right now, I think is a good sign, because you build in that camaraderie. You're going to have some ups and downs. You have some bad moments. You're going to have some tough times, and that camaraderie is what's going to get you through that culture. And so I think we're legit. I think you've got enough of a window now to look at what we have to say, hey, this is a team that's going to make some noise, and they may fall back to earth a little bit here. But if they can just keep this, I'd rather be in this position at this point than 10 games back. Let's just say that. You don't want your season to be turning the wrong direction at this point when we haven't even hit June. It's nice to be where we're at.
The only bit of controversy you can even point to is the Royce Lewis. Should he stay? Should he go? Is that a good problem to have, that you kind of have too many good players right now for the Twins?
Well, I think, right now you want him to, you want to just curate his future, right? You want to take care of him. He's a young talent. We've seen how that's gone here in the Twins organization with some other guys that have come up through it. And I think it's a good thing, but you also want to get him involved. You want him involved when it hits fall, and you need players to call up, and you're going to need bodies like him. And I think you want to give him enough experience that when he comes up in the fall, he's ready to rock. And that's the hope. And you hope he gets enough at-bats and enough time up here that he can be ready. We know he's got 1,000,000 miles of talent. Now it's just like maybe we're just not ready for you yet. Hold, and hopefully you can help us in October.
Stay tuned. Our next segment, we're going to shift from baseball over to football as the Purple back at it for practices and OTAs. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit here on KDUZ. Welcome back here on the MN Scorefeed Blitz. I'm Joel. That's Chad, former Vikings linebacker. And I bet now is when you really miss being a part of the Vikings and going through all those OTAs here in May and June.
Oh, yeah, I love going to work in May and June and getting beat up and in your summer. No, this is the time of year when I'm really happy I don't play anymore. And even more so when I hit end of July, early August, when you get to training camp, and I really am happy I don't play anymore. But then it gets to be on game days, it gets to be on Sundays at noon, and you're like, oh man, I wouldn't mind being out there right now. So it's funny how it works, but they're out there grinding right now. They actually invited the alumni back for a practice here coming up next week, which I'm going to try to get out there for. So fired up about the team, fired up about the direction. I'm really looking forward to get out there and get my eyes on them and seeing what I see out there next week. I'm pumped for that.
What now about here in end of May, early June, what are some of the things that usually goes on at OTAs right now? What are some of those players doing?
Well, it's all install, right? And I think you're getting your system down. You're getting your players kind of moving around to see where they're going to fit best in the system, especially this year when you have some change. It's going to be a while to see what comes out. This defense could look very different, and structurally the offense could look very different. And I'm excited for it. But right now they're installing stuff. They're getting guys reps at different locations, trying to see where the best fit is, and we're trusting the staff to get them prepared. I think you want to be ready to hit the ground running in training camp and work out a lot of those issues now. Obviously you're integrating young guys that are new to the system. You're getting them involved. So a lot of moving parts right now.
How important, you mentioned the new staff and installing different things. How important is it maybe this year rather than other years where you have a returning coach and a returning system? Is it really important for OTAs this year?
It's really important. Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the most important one you've had since Zimmer came in 2014, 2015. I mean, it's a huge off season to get as much accomplished as you possibly can, and that's what they're going to be trying to get done, is just get everything installed so they can get to the point where they feel comfortable with where they're going to be at in training camp, and then obviously have a long ways to go with training camp. And I think it's interesting because you have so many guys that are new that are coming in along with coaches that it's almost nice because you kind of get to feel each other out and grow together within it. I think that's really important.
Now, a lot of these OTAs, I think there's 1 week where it is mandatory, but a lot of these OTAs are optional. But for these optional ones, do a lot of the guys come anyway? I mean, do you get mostly a full team for these?
Yeah, especially this year. I mean, especially when you have, when you have all new and you're trying to prove yourself to a new staff, you're going to have a lot of involvement from almost everybody, even the older guys that are established. You want to come in and get a good footing and in a good position with the new staff and build that camaraderie, and that's really important. So, I think that I'm not sure if they have 100% attendance. I haven't been paying that close of attention, but I got to believe they're close.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks for coming on, and we'll look forward to chatting again later in June.
You bet, Joel. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Chad Greenway, it's the MN Scorefeed Blitz.